Okay, so we're going to have a little fireside chat with Linda Brettler and her two sons, Charlie and Arlo. We just got the architecture tour, and now we're going to have the family fireside chat where we're going to talk a little bit about your experience living in this home. And
We should have Linda introduce herself and then tell us where we are, essentially starting, and then we can go from there.
Okay, so I'm Linda Brettler, and you already introduced my sons. We're sitting in the living room of our house, El Paradiso. As the sun is setting, you can see the cool reflections on the ceiling.
and how long have you all been living in here?
I think it's been 4 years, 3 years,
About 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
And you grew up in a sort of high design environment in different contexts. My understanding of your mother's architecture is that it's very open-minded. It's not all about modernism or minimalism. It's about good design in different expressive forms. And so you've lived in traditional architecture, you've lived in modern architecture. And how would you characterize your experience in this home?
Well, I think that she really came in, and as opposed to I think a lot of your other stuff where you can kind of just do whatever you want and like, or maybe push your clients to do something interesting. This house, you really like brought out what it was intended to be at the time, and it feels like you were very faithful to just making it the best version of what it should be, like preserve it and restore it and all of that stuff. And I think that's kind of different than the other stuff that you've done. But I also think that it's so suited to you, this house. Like, it's so every part of it is like designed around your life, in addition to having us as your hangers on, as the freeloaders that we are living here. But like your office being here, and just the house feels like it's perfectly suited to you, and the hikes being nearby and just all of that stuff. So I think that this is unique in that way too, and that it's like very much a home that's for you and for us, your family, which I love.
As she was working on it, was there a time where you knew like not to disturb her? Was there like a time period where you're like...
I think she's always so excited to show us what she's working on. So no, not really. Like, we came in when they were excavating this whole thing because she wanted us to see it. And I think she takes us through the process, and she wants us to know what goes into it, and like the before and after kind of it all, and like the progress that she's making. So I think she's never like so stressed that she's like, leave me alone. She always wants to include us in it and like give us an appreciation for it. And also it's the place that we're going to live. So, yeah, I think all of that, and like consulting us on stuff that like, Charlie and I both have rooms here. So it's like, she let us kind of have input, within reason.
But that you weren't living here. You moved in after it was finished. You weren't living on a construction site.
No. We moved in after, but I have to say, when I looked at the house before I put in the final offer, I brought them all here, and I was like, you guys have to vet it and see if it, because it's my place, but it's also, I wanted it to be a family place, so I wanted all their input, and we got like takeout or something, and we ate by the decrepit pool, and you guys all gave your input, which you're all on board for, right?
And you gave it the 2 thumbs up. So is there anything, Charlie, about this house that you could describe in a word or a phrase what it's like living in this house?
I mean, it really feels like a house of the future, basically. What Soriano, I imagine, was like envisioning, with it being seamlessly indoor, outdoor, and having all of these just really nice like amenities, and yeah, that it's kind of just seamlessly part of nature, which is a really great part of it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It feels like sometimes architecture these days are going backwards, and this one was just so far ahead. What were you gonna...
Oh, I think it's interesting that in that language, this is something I think about a lot. I was talking about it last night at the Schindler House on Kings Road, because on one hand, that house was built in the 20s, and so it must have seemed like a spaceship that arrived in the middle of these bean fields. And so it's sort of, this house is futuristic. And then you talked about it being really connected to nature. And so there's this really elemental aspect to it where there's kind of an earth, air, fire, water. You know, as we walked up the path, we hear the sound of running water. There is a fire pit. It's all about the breezes and the air and the connection to nature, which is very primitive in a way. So it's like you're describing it as futuristic and it's very elemental.
Also, like the one thing which my contractor said, like, Linda, you bought a very expensive trellis, is that it sits so lightly, like, which it always surprises me. Like it just, for sometimes better and worse, like when raccoons are walking in. But the house just, it sits very lightly on the ground, and it doesn't have the heaviness of like walls and all that stuff. So yeah, it's a cool feeling.
I'll add to that it's just like, it's just such a beautiful space, and to have your home be this beautiful and just to wake up every day here is, I don't know, it's an incredible experience. And I think on days like this especially, I wake up and I'm like, wow, I'm literally living in a piece of art. And I think that, I think that's super unique, and it's very, it's super special. Just makes me appreciate it.
I was going to ask, is there a favorite time of day? But now that I'm here and you're seeing the sunset, maybe is it during sunsets or mornings just as captivating?
I think it's I mean, the sunsets here are pretty incredible because you can go up onto the roof, but I think this time of day is great because you get this, like, these reflections on the ceiling here from the pool, which is super special. And also, the morning, I don't know, it's because it's so light and there's so many windows, like you wake up, and if your blinds are up, which mine frequently are not, but if your blinds are, open, you feel like you're just waking up outside, which is really, really cool. Yeah.
Charlie, do you have a favorite time of day here?
I would agree, like, waking up here is pretty incredible. Like, just the fact that most of the walls are just glass sliding doors. I feel like the morning is pretty incredible.
So one thing here, when you were talking about, I love that your contractor said you basically bought a very expensive trellis. Like the whole house is a trellis. It's just this roof form and then walls of glass. And in a way, the architecture kind of disappears. And because we speak the language of architecture, we're in here geeking out about all the details that make it special as a work of art. But on the other hand, it's really special because the architecture recedes into the background. And so this is uncharacteristic of what I call the sculptural school of Southern California, where the architecture, I feel, sort of screams at you to be noticed, where this architecture just allows this house to be about people and parties and raccoons and the sky and nature. And I think that's really elegant.
It is a great party house. These guys have had many parties here. But what you're saying about that is that I was reading I have interviews that Soriano did with, I guess, USC or something. And he said, it's a really tricky balance because you want it to be light, but you still want it to provide shelter. So if it's too light, then it feels a little precarious. So this is kind of, I think it's a really elegant balance between the two. It's very light, but you still do feel, because of these overhangs and all this, you still feel sheltered.
I think when we were here last, I don't know how the conversation started, but you were describing something about your mom and the process and that time period. Mm-hmm. Do you recall what you were saying at that time?
I mean, I think I was just saying that no one could have done this except for my mom. No one that I know of could have done what she did with this house except for her, like just her attention to detail and obsession over just every little part of it, like the laminate or like the cork being like, the right color, and just every single little part of the house she really is like obsesses over in the best way and just knows everything about it. Or like lighting the house, because you can't attach anything here, so like figuring out, I just remember her like doing all these different iterations of like, how do we light this house without hiding it and putting them in these beams and everything like that. But just her knowledge and yeah, I mean, I think obsession is the only right word, but it's like, it's good. It's good because I don't think anybody else could have done it with as much like attention to detail and just kind of, you know, even like the furniture that they had in here when they staged it, it was like very kind of classic mid-century stuff, but it was kind of boring and kind of like not that much color, not that much, you know, personality. And I think even like the furniture that she chose, like this rug and just all of that stuff, is like no one could have done it and it have as much life and feel as alive as it does, because it's like a historic thing that you've rehabbed and like you're trying to make it the way it was, but it's also like very functional, and like we have air conditioning and we have heat and we have all of the, you know, all of our lights are on, you know, like an app that you can just like, it's all staged. So I think it's a really good balance of old and new, and it is very livable in addition to being like a piece of art that she has restored. So yeah, I don't know.
No, I agree. We were talking about that earlier, about that marriage of old and new and the playful creativity that you have shown in the exercise of your good judgment here. And also specifically, we talked about how boring it is when you walk into a mid-century modern home and it's filled with all mid-century modern furniture. Mm-hmm. There's nothing less interesting, you know, than that. And this has certainly some classic elements. You know, there are Eames stools and things, but then other pieces that you've introduced, they're having a conversation. It's about a living conversation and an ongoing dialogue. It's very alive. So you really captured that in your description of it just now. What are you thinking about, Charlie?
Just it was interesting because our previous house was like, it was like Spanish. It had a bunch of different architectural styles that, and like all different kinds of furniture, and it was, I don't know, it's interesting doing like a mid-century modern one, and also just how many limitations, like, or not limitations, just like, yeah, things that you had to work with this one, like the fact that you couldn't, that there are no walls to like hang things on, or I don't know, you just completely, it was a unique challenge for you, even though you've done like every style. And I feel like even that like ceramic piece thing that's hanging there, like my mom completely had to like source this, yeah, that like figure out how to hang that, and just, yeah, with the piece of rebar and stuff. It's just, yeah, you can tell that there were tons of unique solutions to all of these things that only like an architect could really do, because yeah, it's just seemed difficult and unintuitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's inspiring. It's making me want to go to my house and think about like, well, what can I start, you know, incorporating and doing the things that you did. So as we wrap up here, is there something you want to talk about in terms of what your favorite part of this whole process?
It really, I mean, I have to say it really was, like, as an architect, you always have a vision when you go in. Like, sometimes I meet with a new client and everything is just like laid out in my mind's eye. And I know it's going to take 3 years to get there. But with this one, it was so much a process of discovery while I was doing it. Like, I did have that vision, and to see it like finally realized was so incredible. You know, like piece by piece. You know, when the cork flooring went in, when the troughs went in, and everything was so arduous to see it come together. But also just the serendipity, like we talked, of just how organic the construction process is, and sometimes, you know, like these happy results come out of something completely unintended. So I think the most fun for this project was just to also challenge myself to like come up with, like, create actual solutions that weren't there, you know. So it really challenged me, like, architecturally to think in ways, and as you said, like sort of subtly, like not a look at me solution, but something that was going to serve the house but still be creative. Yeah.
And so I get the feeling that you're content here, that I don't really see you as a flipper. You know, it's like you didn't buy this to turn around and sell it and move on to the next project. You do enough projects in your life as an architect. Can you see yourself staying here for a while?
Forever. Although that's what I said about my last one. But the last one was this one. I mean, when I was looking at houses this time, I was like, I want to be in a house that I can live the rest of my life in, and that, you know, like if my kids hopefully have kids in the future, that I'll be like the weird grandma with the weird house, you know, that they come hang out at. So yeah, I mean, also at this, you know, you have, I think houses serve where you are in the stages of life too. So this house is so amenable to a kind of living where everything is open and it's just simpler and not high maintenance. And so, you know, all one story, everything. So I plan on being here for the rest of my life, hopefully. Yeah.
I could be content here. I'm ready to move in. If you ever need a house sitter, let me know. Well, thank you all again for indulging us in this conversation. It's good to see you all, and we really appreciate your hospitality.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Linda.